Hello, everyone. Welcome to Fresh Learning Academy. It's my pleasure to be with Saurav Pratik today. He's working with Google right now and he's ex Geeks for Geeks. And today I'm so happy to invite him on this platform. My main intention to invite him today is to give you all a fair idea that what a tech student would need to get a good job. So, Saurav, not taking much of your time, I would come to the question. My first question to you is how important coding or programming skills are for a tech background student, and what are the platforms you would suggest them to practice their coding and programming skills?
Yeah. Hey, hi, Pratibha. First of all, thanks for having me. So the question seems interesting. As you know, like for a proper tech job, programming is the foremost important thing. Like, especially when you are at the applying for an entry level position, then like the first thing people will gonna ask, or the companies will gonna ask, or the initial rounds will be around coding, programming, data
Mm,
structures, and algorithms. So I think that is like one of the most essential and crucial rounds for the people who are early in their career. And like, there are a lot of websites and the programming
mhm,
judging platform where you can practice comparative programming and data structures and algorithms, right? So one is Geeks for Geeks. I was previously like a software engineer there, so I would recommend that. It's really nice. They have a good set of problems. They have a good set of courses and like online judges, right? Apart from that, there is one Lead Code as well, which is really famous. They
mhm,
used to have contests and all. And the problems of Lead Codes are very suited to the as a look like to a software engineering interview. So that's why people
mhm,
like tend to practice more on Lead Code because their problems are very straightforward. Right? They do not have lengthy problems and with a kind of storytelling. They like have
mhm,
problems defined in a very small way and a
mhm,
straightforward problem statement, right? Apart from that, there are more, like if you want to go more advanced into competitive programming, then there is CodeChef, CodeForces. These are the two
mhm.
advanced platforms where you can actually spend some time to, like, if you're really like into competitive programming.
Okay. So, Saurav, right now, currently you are working with Google. So, how did you land a job in Google or at Google, I would say?
Okay, so initially, like I have worked with Geeks for 2 years.
Mm-hmm,
Like I started my technical career from Geeks for Geeks. I was a software engineer there for 2 years. After
mm-hmm,
that, like, I started applying for a lot of companies. I gave interviews in a lot of companies, like Amazon, PayPal, Innovation. Some of them were good startups as well, right? GitHub as well. Like there are some of the companies which I interviewed for, and Google was also among these
mm-hmm,
companies for which I interviewed. Like I cracked the interview for Google and I got an opportunity there. So that, like, in short, that was the like thing. First, I went, like, I spent 2 years in Geeks for Weeks, and then I like got an referral opportunity. So I applied via referral through
mm-hmm,
LinkedIn. So there was a person who posted on LinkedIn that, hey, we have this web solutions engineering position open. And if you're interested, you can like send your cover letter and resume on this email ID. So I will send that, and I
mm-hmm,
like, uh, asked him on LinkedIn as well that I have sent you this, and feel free to, like, if the resume looks good to you, like, do refer me.
mm-hmm,
And he referred me. He referred me, and then I got an call back from an HR at Google asking me that whether I'm interested for like getting into an interview with Google for this
mm-hmm.
position or not. And then the entire thing started. So
Okay,
took
great.
around
So, Saurav, as you mentioned that your resume was selected, can you, tell our audience, or basically it should be for a fresher, the one who are still in their seventh, eighth semester of engineering, or maybe third, fourth semester of their MCA, what are the prerequisite, or what are the things which should be mandatory that should be in your resume to stand out in the crowd?
Okay, so the most important thing should be like and your educational background and your work
Mm-hmm,
experience. So if you are not fresher, if you have like some maybe 1 or 2 years of work experience, then you should like mention that in your resume. And like it's extremely important what you have worked on during your like technical career. So if you are in XYZ company, then you should
mm-hmm,
mention that like what you have worked upon and what was the impact of your work. So these two things are really important. That what you build and what was the impact of
Mhm.
the product you built. So
What
like you
if
mentioned,
he or she is a complete fresher, a graduate just looking for his or her first job? So, how
okay,
important a role does projects or internship or languages on your resume play that part?
okay, yeah. So if you're a complete fresher, then I would let's say then obviously you don't have a full-time work experience. So if you
Mm-hmm,
have an internship experience, do put that. That would be like very crucial, and it's gonna like make you stand out from the normal resume which don't have an internship section or don't have an internship. Like for the people who don't have internship, like it is gonna make you stand out if you have like
mm-hmm,
already have done internship in good organization. And again, the same thing for there as well. You can mention what you have worked upon and what was the impact of your project. And if you don't have an internship, then try to focus on building good projects. Like,
mm-hmm,
um, really like decent quality projects, and like do try to host your code on GitHub. And if you have a like if you have hosted your live project somewhere, then do put a link to that. So that would be like really awesome if you can showcase what you have built. So these are the like most important things. If you have internship with
mm-hmm.
opportunity, then do mention your internship and what you did there. And otherwise you can mention your projects. So that would be the
Okay.
first thing.
So, Saurav, right now you mentioned GitHub. How important GitHub profile is, and can you add a little bit more about what GitHub is all about?
Okay. So GitHub profile is important actually. It
Mm-hmm,
helps you to like structure your projects at one place. So initially, what was the things that you used to mention what you built? So it was a very high level description which you like on text, which you mentioned on resume that
mm-hmm,
hey, I built this, I built that. But if a technical person is like reading your resume, then they might be interested in like seeing the code base of your project, right? Or your project live. So that's where
mm-hmm,
GitHub comes. You can post your repository. It's like code base sharing platform where you can deploy your code base so that other people can see and contribute parallelly.
okay.
So GitHub is kind of a platform where you can showcase your code base and you can contribute to other code bases as well. Another thing is the Git, the concept of Git. It is a version control system, and that is helps you when you are working in a team and you are contributing on a single project.
Mm-hmm,
Maybe 3 to 4 person are working on a single project, then there is a way you do it, right? Otherwise, you will gonna mess things up. So if I'm making a change and some other person is making a change on the same project, then if
mm-hmm,
we might like contribute at the same time, then it might be the case that I have changed a file differently and the same file has been changed by another person differently, and it can cause
mm-hmm.
conflict. So that's where version control system comes up. It provides a
Okay.
proper guideline of how you can contribute it to the code base, how you resolve merge
Mm-hmm,
conflicts, how you like there are a lot of concepts there, how you create a branch or a workspace, you commit to that, you raise a PR, all the things are there. Individual who has a GitHub profile should be expected to have a decent knowledge of a version control system, right? They should have a working understanding of how Git works, yeah, right, and how they can actually contribute to a code base in a team. So that is
okay.
important.
Okay. So Saurav, like there are so many, new languages, new technologies which are there in market. So most of the student who don't come from, tier one or two colleges, they are confused that what are the important languages they should know so that majority of companies they could be hired in majority of the companies. So can you throw some light on this?
Yeah, yeah. So it depends upon the role you are applying for.
Mm-hmm,
So if you are going for a software engineering role in Java, Spring Boot, and these frameworks are quite in demand. A
mm-hmm,
lot of legacy code bases are also built on that, and like a lot of software companies who are maintaining those code bases do require these individuals who are proficient in these languages. Apart from that, like the new technologies like JavaScript, and there is a like a backend framework for JavaScript for server development that is Node.js, right? Similarly, for Python, there is Django. So these two frameworks are also in real in demand for server development. Very a lot of new projects and new companies have built their ecosystem on these. So it depends upon which companies you are targeting for. So it is good if
mm-hmm,
you have a working knowledge of Java, Spring Boot along with Node.js or Django. You can pick anyone. That would be interesting. Apart from that, maybe if you're going for a data engineering role, then you should have a working like understanding of Python and the libraries,
mm-hmm,
right? the NumPy library, the Pandas library, things like that. So a lot of things are there. Now Gen AI and LLMs are also in picture, so you can also get started with that. There is a lot of frameworks like LangGraphs and a lot of models, OpenAI and another like
Mm-hmm.
Llama, Gemini. A lot of models are there which you can try it out and see how they work actually. So a lot of things are there for learn. You have to decide which way you are going for, and then you can pick
Mm-hmm.
things.
Okay. Saurav, I know bunch of students who are in their third semester of MCA. I'm talking about MCA students, not BTech student. So they are still unaware that what they have to do with their life or where they have to start. I know there is no shortcut, but anything which can at least give them comfort that still if they start, they have 6 months or 7 months so that they are ready
Mhm.
for the campus placement. Like, they say that, ma'am, we don't know anything. Like sometimes they are confused. They say we don't know the basic. So can you suggest anything, at least which can give them a ray of hope that still there is time and they can start?
Yeah, sure. So basically, if you have 6 to 7 minutes, 6 to 7 months, and
Mm-hmm.
you don't have any idea how you are starting, and you're completely new, then I would suggest like start with the basics, like learn data structures and algorithms, learn GitHub, right, and then learn how version control system actually works, right? Learn how you can host a project on GitHub. Like these things, like the basics can be learned maybe in like a week or so, and
Mm-hmm.
after that like you will understand that how to proceed. So once you spend 1 week on these basic technologies and foundations, then you can maybe go ahead and start diving deep into it. So maybe you
Mm-hmm.
can register yourself into one of the platforms like LeetCode, and you can
Mm-hmm.
start with the easy problems. Maybe you can like spend starting 3 to 4 days or a week solving a lot of easy problems. Then you go into the medium problems. You start like exploring different data structures. You dive into advanced data structures, right? Like if you do it for maybe 2 to 3 months, then you will have a decent like knowledge of DSA and competitive programming. Right? Like you might be able to clear some like good companies entry level software engineering positions. Apart
Mm-hmm.
from that, you should like also parallelly like, do some development, try GitHub, try to host some repository, try to build some websites or anything like that, and host that on GitHub and like try to showcase your skills and code base. Maybe try contributing to other projects as well. So these are the
Mm-hmm.
like two things which you can like start from very basic, not going into a very advanced level, but start with a
Mm-hmm.
very basic and in the meantime, like in 3 to 4 months, you'll be at the medium level. It would be a good position for you to start applying for the companies. That's what I say.
And Saurav, apart from technical, if we are talking about coding and programming skills, what are the other skills? Such as first round is always, like MCQ, which includes technical, verbal ability, and aptitude, etc. So, can you suggest that how can a student prepare all these together, and if there could be a timetable, that can help them to understand that how they have to proceed?
Yeah, so generally like, it depends. Some of the companies prefer to take aptitude
Mm-hmm.
skill-based test where it is not related to programming. The questions are aptitude-based, like general aptitude like maths and probability, age questions,
Mm-hmm.
blood relation questions, right? English. A lot of these things are there. For that, you can like simply, I would say the best thing would be to practice these kind of. So a lot of websites are
Yes.
there where you can practice aptitude tests, right? So maybe try to practice like 10 to 20. Like try to give at least one aptitude test daily. It will hardly take an hour for you to do that, but and also try to judge your score, what how your score is looking like. If you're performing
Mm-hmm.
poorly, then try to see that in which areas you are not scoring well. Is it the aptitude? Is it the math section? Is it the English
Mm-hmm.
section? Which section is there? So it is divided into 3 to 4 sections. Try to understand your weak point. Apart from that, there are also a lot of shortcuts. So if you are presented a probability problem, then if you will like try to do it with the basic maths and try to arrive at the solution, then it might take you some
Mm-hmm.
time. But these problems have like are categorized, and every category have a shortcut formula which you can like apply on. So it
Mm-hmm.
depends upon how you like if you have solved these kind of problems before or not. A lot of books are there which like tries to teach you that. So if you it depends upon if you can find the pattern in the problem. So if you see the problem and you find the pattern that okay, this looks like this kind of problem, and there is a already we have a formula for it to get the answer. So you just have to put the things in the formula and you get the answer. So whatever you're
Mm-hmm.
trying to do in, like, I guess in 3 to 4 minutes, you can maybe do it in 20 to 25 seconds. And that's where things changes. Like in aptitude, it
Mm-hmm.
depends upon how fast you can solve the problem and how correctly you can solve the problem.
So
So even
practice
within,
does matter, right?
yeah,
Like
yeah,
everyday
practice, yeah,
practice
speed,
would help.
yeah, yeah. Speed is everything
Okay.
in aptitude. So I can give you
Mm-hmm.
10 minutes of time for a question and you will definitely solve it, but it will not affect much because if you have given 30 minutes and you are able to solve 3 to 4 questions, you won't be able to pass the aptitude. Like maybe
Yes, exactly.
there are 40, 45 questions. So it depends upon like within a minute if you are able to solve a question and if you're
Mm-hmm.
able to solve it correctly, then only you can solve 30 to 40 questions in half an hour. And that's where good candidates are like,
Mm-hmm.
shifted away from the medium. So they know they have practiced these aptitude tests so well, and they
Mm-hmm.
know they have like read the problem so well that they understand the pattern and they know the formulas. And if there is any shortcut, they knew that, and they can apply
Mm-hmm.
that to the problem and they can solve it. So these are the things for aptitude. Apart from that,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, there are data structural algorithms found as well. Like a lot of companies take that. So it depends upon like what you are targeting. So if you're aptitude, you can definitely try to give 1 hour daily for an aptitude
Mm-hmm.
test. That would be more than enough for you. And if you do it daily, like maybe in 10 to 15 days, you will understand what patterns are there in the questions.
Mm-hmm. And Saurav, how important is communication skill or soft skill to be very precise? Because I do, hear from people that if you are good in technical, these things won't matter. But how important, according to you, are the soft skill or communication skill?
So I feel like soft skills and communication skills are really important in a software engineering role as well. So a lot of people think that being in a software engineering role is all about coding and writing programs. You
Yes.
don't have to interact with people, and that is somewhat true at a very junior level. But like when you like hop up the ladder and when you're going into the senior position, then you are like your job will not only be coding or programming or solving issues. And you have to do a lot of things. You have to do the documentation. You have to communicate your engineering design to your product manager. You have to communicate the design changes to your engineering manager. Maybe you need to like provide design discussion. You have to do design discussions with your team. You have to guide your team, right, on the basis of the decisions and
Mm-hmm.
discussions. So those are a lot of communications which is going on when you go into the senior position, and that's where like communication skills matter. So it depends that how you can drill down your technical jargons and you can present your complex technical designs to to say a product manager who is not in a technical role or who is not from a technical background, so that it makes sense to them as well. Like how
Mm-hmm.
complex your design and engineering designers, you can still like you are so good in communication skills are so well versed, and you can drill down those complex design into a very simple manner to a product manager in a very lame way, so that or a very general way, so that a non-technical person can understand. So that's where the software engineers with good communication skills are very efficiently or very quickly hop up the ladder. They can easily transition into a senior role or an engineering manager role because they have a good communication skill. While others who
Mm-hmm.
don't have communication skills are not able to communicate much, they are not given those like, enough
Those
responsibility.
roles.
Yeah, those who require communication. They may be like at a junior level or at a semi senior level, but when you move up the ladder, communication is really important.
Saurav, one question which is coming to my mind is like most of the companies, if we talk about MNC, they have some eligibility criteria, like hiring criteria, 60% throughout and such. Is it same with Google as well if it is for a freshers hiring? Because this question, my student ask a lot of these questions.
Yeah, so no, Google does not have any criteria. I guess Google does not have a bachelor degree criteria as well. Like
Mm-hmm.
even if you don't have a valid degree and you are able to like get an interview opportunity and you are able to crack that interview, you can definitely get an offer. I have seen people doing like don't have an undergrad degree, they did 1 or 2 nano degrees from Udacity, like a
Mm-hmm.
basic course, 3 to 4 months courses or a coding boot camp, and then they have made into these big companies, Google, Facebook,
Wow.
Microsoft, and all. So like these big companies, unfortunately, does not have the any percentage criteria. But yeah, like at like a lot of companies does like HCL. I have heard that they have a very high criteria. But when
Yes.
my time when HCL came, they were asking about 75% cutoff, and hardly 2 to 3 students were able to appear for the interview because
Hmm.
none of them were able to
Because I do
clear
come
that.
across many
Right?
students, they don't have 60%, or maybe due to some reason they have scored only 59% or something in their 10th or 12th,
Yeah,
but they are good in coding, programming, and technical
yeah.
skills. So, Saurav, again, my question is like, if Google don't have these criterias, like how much a student has scored in academics, what criterias do these companies have? What they are looking in a candidate to be a, to hire them?
So to be honest, like nowadays or like from past maybe 5 to 6 years, these big companies are mostly trying to look into the candidate, having like, trying to understand whether a candidate has a good logical and thinking ability and their problem solving skills. So that
Mm-hmm,
is the most important thing they want in a candidate. That the candidate should be able to solve problems and get things done. So that is one of the most important things that like these big companies want. Apart from that, like they understand that if I am like taking in a bright mind that they can have, they're really smart and they can solve they're able to solve complex problems. Then if I'll put them in our ecosystem, and it will be hardly take them like maybe a month to learn or to like onboard it with their internal tech stack. So that's not a challenge for them.
mm-hmm.
That's why they are like mostly looking for a candidate with good logical and thinking ability. That's why they are mostly targeting on these data structure and problem from so that they can understand that how good you are in programming or how good
Mm-hmm.
you are in solving complex problems and like defining solutions for the complex problems. That's what like they are actually looking for.
Sorry, while I was going through your LinkedIn profile, I came across a lot of competition where you have participated, like coding competitions, certifications. You have done internship. So, does participating or scoring in these coding competition, or does that add value? Like, does it get counted when you are hired somewhere?
Yeah, yeah. It will definitely enhance your resume. So there are a lot of prestigious coding contests. So one is
Mm-hmm,
ICPC, Intercollegiate Programming Contest. That's like called Olympics of Competitive Programming. It is the highest. It is at the world's top level programming contest, which ever happens. It happens annually once, and like these kind of contests, if you're participated into, I went into ICPC regionals. I represented my college there at an India level. We had a
mm-hmm.
rank of like 70 to 75 at all over India,
Okay.
and from there, 3 teams go to represent in the world finals. Like, representing India in the world finals, who are the
Mm-hmm,
top three countries, top three teams. So like these kind of competitions, and like back at that time, like Facebook, Microsoft, and Google also used to have contests. So Facebook hosts a contest. It's called Hacker Cup.
hmm.
That is an open coding contest. Anyone can like participate in, and if you are having a decent rank or if you are able to perform well, then Facebook recruiters do reach out to you, like or the Meta recruiters do reach out to you. Similarly for Google, but unfortunately Google has like abandoned, or we can say like stopped or deprecated all their coding contests. Like
Okay.
2 years back, Google has to like had a lot of contests. So there were
Mm-hmm,
kickstarts which used to happen every 2 to 3 months. The
hmm.
kickstart contests were there, and that was for the sole purpose of hiring. They used to like even if you are in top 100 200, there will be a high chance that you will be reached out by the recruiter that hey, like you performed well in this round of Google Kickstart. Do you are you like, willing to give an interview or willing for to step up for an interview opportunity, something like that. Google used to have hash code. Google used to have code jam. Like a lot of coding
Mm-hmm.
contests, Google used to like um, host at an overall world level, and anyone having a like in a college can participate. So those were there at that time, and those were really awesome, and like they're really beneficial. It also like stands out your resume, and if you perform well, you get like contacted by a recruiter too if you're planning to if you're willing to give an interview
Mm-hmm.
opportunity. So that was like really cool at that time.
Okay. Saurav, I talked about resume, I talked about GitHub. Now it's turn to talk about LinkedIn, because I, connected with you via this, and I feel that LinkedIn has given me a lot of opportunity to interact with people like you who are motivating others and creating awareness. So my question to you is, how important a LinkedIn profile is for a fresher or for a student?
Yeah, I think LinkedIn profile is important for everyone. you will not like a lot of people underrate LinkedIn networks and connection, but you don't know when things will go south. You will need a job opportunity or anything like that, or any new opportunity can come up when you have right network with you. Like when you know a good amount of people, when you know quality people, and when people knows you as well that hey, this is the person, and they are literally good in what they are doing, and like, and that manner opportunity knocks door for yourself like
Yeah.
when you are actually like built a great network on LinkedIn. So
Mm-hmm.
LinkedIn is really important. I am very active on LinkedIn. I generally showcase my work on LinkedIn. I
Yes.
have my own newsletter systems that scale on LinkedIn. So I used to post articles on that as well. And yeah, so like doing all these things, I frequent weekly. I used to post like maybe 1 to 2 times, or maybe
Yes,
three
I
four
did
times.
go through all your articles and everything, and that was the reason it clicked that I should definitely invite you because you are the right person who can guide anybody. And I did check that you have not done anything from IIT, but then still you have worked with, working with tech giant. And Geek for Geek also holds a very reputable name in market. So both the companies you have worked or are working, that made me connect with you so that you can set an example and motivate student that it's not always about that college or institute, but it's all about how much effort you are putting. So sort of next question to you is that I did check your YouTube channel. So why did you start your YouTube channel? And I did go through a few of the content, but because I'm not from the tech background, I was unable to understand. So can you guide so that if anybody needs any kind of guidance from you, what stuff do you mostly post on your YouTube channel to be very precise?
Okay, so like I was not like planning to make any YouTube channel honestly. So what
Mm-hmm,
did I do is that I used to post a lot of articles on distributed systems and system design on my newsletter systems that
mm-hmm,
scale. And people used to reach out to me. I got frequent feedbacks that hey, like your text content is really good. And are you
mm-hmm,
planning to make video content on these? Because like text is good, but if you have like corresponding video content for these lecture, it would
mm-hmm.
be like really awesome. And I got a couple of feedbacks. Then I thought that okay, like I have a lot of these articles. Let's convert them into a video and make a distributed systems
Mm-hmm.
introductory series, so that if anyone does not have an understanding of distributed systems, like they can go on my playlist and they can learn it from scratch. So that's what the motive was, and I wanted to make those lectures available free for everyone. So that's why I thought that YouTube should be the best place where I can reach to a lot of audience, and it would be free of cost. So if any like student who don't have that privilege
Yes,
to get these
that
content,
would
they can get
really
it.
add value.
Yeah.
And I did
So I
check
started
that
this.
you have more than 25,000 subscribers for your newsletter. So what is this
Yeah.
newsletter exactly all about? And do you post some kind of, what we call notes related to any kind of subject? Because my students, specifically talking about my student who are with Sri Vaishnav Institute of Management and Science, they are looking for some quality, content in terms of notes for various subjects. So do you have something like that as well available on your LinkedIn profile?
So I possibly like I mostly target those kind of topics which are not taught in colleges. So
Okay.
like distributed systems and system design are these kind of topics which are not there in college curriculum yet, right? So I like my thing is key. I will like, try to drill down these concepts so that even a
Hmm.
college graduate can go on to my newsletter and can read these topics. So I have around like 40 to 45 articles under that newsletter, which is mostly around distributed systems and low level design. So low level design is another topic which is not taught in college. So and now I have recently started posting on large language models and frameworks related to that. So all of these like topics are not there in college curriculum, but are very beneficial for even for a college graduate if they want to learn. So those are the topics which my newsletter surrounds to, and like that was the motive. So I
Hmm.
actually thought ki, like students are already reading the college curriculum. So what is the gap there? So I thought that system design is not there in the curriculum. Let's I can maybe drill down the concepts and I can make it available in the form of newsletter or my YouTube channel so that like, any student or any working professional can also like watch it and learn.
Hmm.
That was the like initial idea.
Sort of, there is a notion that if anybody is working with Microsoft or Google or say it any big tech giants, he or she must be very studious, or he or she must be having devoting 24 hours for coding programming. I would like to ask this question to you because most of the audience are freshers. They would definitely like to connect with you. So just give a little bit more brief about when did you really start, this coding and programming, which year? Like you are a BTech student. So how anybody can start? Is it the first year, second year, or what is the right time
Uh,
to start?
so I would suggest that like start as early as possible, because every like it's there is no right time to start anything.
Mm,
It's just that whenever you will to do it and start. So in my case, what happened is that I was not aware of like any data structure algorithms or competitive programming thing in first year. So in first semester, to be honest. So when I came
mhm,
into college, I was like I had informatics practices in my 12th and 11th standard, but I was not that into computers and coding. I used to hate coding. I did not understand what like these syntaxes are and like how like it sounded complex to me, and I never bothered to get more into it in depth. So till 12th, I had no idea. I basically learned some HTML, which can like I
mhm,
can create some very simple website using very plain HTML tag, and used to look cool at that time. So I did that, but not very well into hard coding and all. But when I came into first year, we had C programming language, where you have to like uh, learn this language and you have to make some programs, and you have to learn a lot of concepts related to that, and that's where things was not going well for me. So initially I was like I was not understanding what these things are,
mhm,
what how they are like creating programs and how they are running it, and I was not able to understand the logic actually, because I was
mhm,
uh, not at all like read computer science that in depth in 11th and 12th. And, luckily in my batch there are a lot of students who already had a keen interest in computer science, so they knew they have already learned C programming and C++ languages in 11th and 12th standard. So they were able to like solve it initially, and that was again kind of demotivating for me. That okay, well, fellow these 3 4 people or these students are able to like catch it and they are able to answer these questions in classes, but where I am thinking that okay, what is happening? I'm not able to understand that. So that's where I thought that okay, I don't have a like I definitely don't have a foundation on these, so I have to
mhm,
like work hard initially and build a foundation, uh,
mhm,
irrespective of whether I'm liking it or not, because I have taken computer science, right? So
mhm,
now it's not the time that for me to make an excuse that I don't like this language or I don't like coding, so I will not start it. So I decided that I'll give it a try.
mhm,
Like however it complex, I'll give it a try for 1 to 2 months and 3 months, and let's see like, whether I like it or not. And then I give it a try. I did not like started coding on laptop, but I used to write whatever program the code for the program was on paper, and
mhm,
like when I wrote it, and then I tried to understand it. Okay, what the code is looking like, what this code is doing on paper itself, like a lot of things like using like performing dry run on paper. So I was not into actually writing programs on laptop for maybe 1 to 2 months initially, but
mhm,
doing it on paper actually helped a lot. I was able to understand when I used to draw it and visualize it, and then slowly I used to get hang of it. Okay, this is what it is doing, this is what these are doing, and then I started coding on laptop. So on like first semester I like passed C programming language with good marks, because
mhm,
70% of it was theory, so I was able to
mhm,
learn it, but 20 30 20 30% was programs. And teacher kind of told us, hey, like these are the 10 to 15 sets of programs, just like try to understand them well, like from these only a couple of programs will be there in your test. So I understood those programs by heart, not memorized it, but I understood what the logic was. So there were the programs in the exam, the programs were there from those set only. So I was able to crack it with good marks. But in second semester, a couple of students like from my batch, 3 to 4 students, they were doing competitive programming in CodeShip, and one of them introduced me to CodeShip. That hey, like if you're interested in programming and coding, like you were interested in C language, let's try this out
mhm.
and let's see how it goes. And then I tried that like platform. I used to code in C initially, and then I shifted to Java, because
Okay.
like I'm not sure why I did, but I did some introductory courses in Java in my semester gap, and that's where I learned Java, and then I started programming in Java, and then from there, like, I really liked competitive programming because I used to like maths before and logic building and
Mm-hmm.
all. I was good in aptitude and things, so that's where the motivation came from, and I have learned coding as well in the first semester. So all the combination of it used to motivate me to do competitive programming, solve problems. So it was a like kind of a I get a hang of it, like seeing
Mm-hmm.
problems, solving them, and getting my solution accepted. That was like really awesome. So then I solved more and more problems. I like really got into depth. Like after like in second semester, we really did competitive programming a lot. I participated in a lot of contests. I went
Mm-hmm.
into like that helped me to go visit different places in India actually.
Mm-hmm.
So for ICPC, we went to Chennai to represent our college at regional level, and then there was TCS Sport Gladiators. I went to Mumbai to represent in it in finals. I had a rank of around 300 from approximately 3 lakh students in Sport Gladiators. So they invited for the
Mm-hmm.
top 300 coders from India to Mumbai. um, Everything was on there. Like they sponsored everything, travel and lodging. So I had a good run. I used to visit,
Mm-hmm.
I got to visit Mumbai and Chennai due to these contests. And yeah, I programmed a lot. I participated in a lot of coding contests. There are a lot of online coding contests as well. We
So,
used to
Saurabh,
participate.
all this time you did it all as an individual, because sometimes I tell my student that you should be connected with like-minded people, or maybe you can work in a group so that if you are facing some problem, there should be somebody else to guide you or help you out. Do you believe in that? Like,
Um,
should a student
uh,
go ahead with this kind of concept? How did it work for you?
Honestly, it's a very big group or a kind of surrounding plays a very important role. And
Mm-hmm.
for myself, I'm not that kind of person that I will always look for a group. If I like
Mm-hmm.
this thing and if I don't have anyone with me doing it, and if I am the sole person learning that particular framework or learning that programming language or doing that competitive programming, I'll be happy to spend time and do that alone as well. And that will also take you like far away. But having a group or having a like 3 to 4 like-minded people around you help you to
Mm-hmm.
think in different directions. So it might be the case that a fellow coder with you have solved a particular problem, right, or learned a new topic which you haven't, and then they can tell, okay, I solved this problem, and like you will see that okay, he solved that problem, but I'm not able to. So you can learn from them. So the thing which you
Mm-hmm.
can like learn in maybe 3 to 4 days by researching and doing like reading online editorials, you can maybe learn it in an hour by sitting just next to that person who did that. So having like-minded people and group of people is very important. That's why a very underrated college succeed because like I
Mm-hmm.
have seen a lot of underrated college having a very good environment of competitive programming, right? And I have
Mm-hmm.
seen people from these colleges making into very big companies. The only reason was that there were like decent amount of 20, 30 individuals doing CP or making some next level projects and all. And that's why like more people joined and more people learned that. Like it is very easy to learn in group instead of learning online. When you see that your fellow person have done it, it gives you confidence. Already you have a 70-80% confidence that okay, he has done it, then I can also do it. It's not a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go with that mindset that okay, I'm learning it, I'm gonna do it. So you are already convinced that the person has done it, I'll also be able to do it. So that is the
Mm-hmm.
most important thing when it comes with having a group. But for me, I had a group. I had a group of three to
Mm-hmm.
four people. One of my friend was in hostel, like 2 to 3 rooms beside me. So we used to code a lot together, and he was
Mm-hmm.
also extremely good in competitive programming. So that helped me a lot. We used to like I got a buddy, and we used to solve problems together as well. But mostly in coding contests, I used to participate alone. There are very few contests which we participated as group. So for me, it was more like an individual journey. But if my college was like if in the college there was a group of competitive programming, then I think it would have benefited more at that time.
Mm-hmm. I'm about to ask a very controversial question. Maybe it could be a controversial question for a few of the people, but I really would like to ask this question. I would like to ask you, Saurav, that how much role does a college, faculty members, or trainers play? or is it an individual who should take care? Because many times I, you know, hear from student talking about my own student that मैम हम कॉलेज में कुछ सीख नहीं रहे हैं, फैकल्टीज हमको नहीं पढ़ा रही है, हम कुछ ऐसा नहीं करे वैसे. देयर आर सो मेनी थिंग्स लाइक blame game is going on. How would you like to address this kind of, because here we are interacting with the freshers, we are interacting here with the student. Most of my viewers are students or freshers looking for the jobs, and majority of them come from technical background. So Saurav, I feel this is a very important question, so that I can, I'm asking this question to you because you are in a profile or in a company where you are a right person to answer this kind of question. Like,
Correct,
should
correct.
we give all blame to college or faculties for not doing their job, or isn't it our responsibility as well, like to take care of these things?
So ideally, honestly, we can blame anyone we want, but the thing is that at the end, it's our loss. So if you are not,
Yes,
like, the first thing is that the first person who would be worrying about your career should be you,
should be
not
you.
your
Yes,
parents, not your teachers, not your college. It should be you
exactly.
who should be worried. And to be honest, we are not into like astronautical science or not in a rocket science where you need a very strict support from college. Like
Mm-hmm,
it's not that you need some equipments in order to build a project which you can't maybe do it alone, or you don't have
mm-hmm,
that resources to do it alone. We are in a computer science background where even if you have maybe a 30 to 40,000 laptop, maybe a
mm-hmm,
35,000 HP pavilion laptop, and a connection to internet, it's completely okay, and you can learn anything you want. It's everything is there on YouTube, and all the softwares or all the languages which you want to learn and practice are free, are open source, right? So luckily you are into a computer science field, so I don't think you can blame anyone here. Even though if you are like if the college is not that good, or if the faculties are not teaching you, then
mm-hmm,
maybe you can simply look for a playlist on YouTube. You will definitely get any playlist you want from introductory, from scratch. Maybe you can open free code camp. Everything is free there. You can learn anything from scratch there. You can open Udemy. A very good quality courses are there in a price of maybe 400 and 500. You can learn
mm-hmm,
anything from there. There, like you can devote a month on that courses. And you will gonna like learn at learn to that position that you can actually apply and crack an interview. So you can like being in a computer science field. I don't think you should blame anyone. If you have internet and you are like have access to these resources, it's completely fine. You can do it, and you will, if you are doing it correctly, you will definitely find like-minded people. Not from the
mm-hmm,
college, you can build a LinkedIn network. You will get people because when a person see that okay, this person is learning something new or this person is like doing something positive, then automatically other people want to connect with you. So you will
definitely.
definitely break another. Yeah, it's a win-win situation. That's how a community
Yes,
works. I am adding something to the community, and another person is adding to something to the community. That's why we are connected. If I see that the
exactly.
individual in front of me is not adding anything, why would I be bothered to connect, or why would I bother to message them? So that's how it works. So you will
I'm
find
glad.
like-minded.
I'm glad that I asked this question to you, and the way you have explained it, it's a real learning for student who have lot of blame game going on. They should understand it's you who is looking for a job. It's you who have to do everything, because it's your life. It's your thing. Saurabh, I think we have covered almost all of the topics or all of the queries which every day I face, I encounter from my very own student and other student as well. Anything at last but not the least you would like to add up from your end for the tech students who are watching this video today?
Uh, okay, for the text one. So mostly like even if you are like unable to get the support, always remember that internet is always open. LinkedIn is always free. You can connect
Yes,
to like-minded people and you can grow. So there is nothing stopping you from learning. You just have to get started. That's what like I do always like with any new technologies.